So we've got a little piece here that we've folded over one side, so we're just going to weld that directly onto there. How's it looking on that side? Is it lined up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, just pull it over a bit more. Just get it exactly level with that. About there?
Yeah.
No, pull it over a little bit more. How's that? Perfectly level? Yep, okay, put the magnet on there. Okay, so Joel's just going to tack this in position. So there you go, Joel, just a couple of spots there. You got the clamp on? Yep. Okay, so as you can see, Joel started tacking in this bottom piece. You can see what's happening in the corner here. The metal from the car is burning away as we weld. Now, eventually that stops doing that as you get to good metal. But we thought we got rid of all the bad metal, didn't we? And we cut it all out. But it's joined here. But anyway, we'll keep the process going and finish that off there. Just do a bit more welding in here. So there we go, that's the two pieces put together. Sort our boot lid. So we're just going to make a small patch to go in here. And once we've done that, then we put our main patch, which we've etch primed at the inside. And that'll go in there like that. And those black lines there, we're going to cut small grooves. We're not actually going to cut it off to small grooves and then bend it over and fold it around to complete the boot. Okay, so the whole reason why the grooves are in there is because you can see as we pin this over, it's going to make it much easier to fold over. So we'll just tap that over. Just work our way across. Let's go where the jaws are. Okay, so you can see I put a split line in the corner there because that was obviously going to wrap around in a different direction. So we're only concentrating on that bottom part for now. Well, what we'll do now is we're going to pin over this side here and we're going to cut this piece off so that we can get it over. Alright, so we've cut that little corner off there so we can now bend this side over. Okay, go for it. You might have to hold yourself. All good? Alright, let's go and try it on the car. Alright, so we've got it in place. It's not wrapped around yet, so we'll start off by tacking it off in the corners and at the top, and we want to, as we're spot welding it, we're going to follow the boot line because it's got a slight curve and it's not just dead flat. So as we do that, this will start to fall into shape, basically, so to speak. So here we go. So this is what it takes to stitch these patch panels on, just very, very slowly, just individual spot welds. I'm cooling them off with my air gun as I'm going, and always checking to make sure that the original metal is flush with the new metal. Right, and so as I work my way down here, you can see that the bottom section of this patch is sitting proud of the original skin. So as I'm coming down, this will eventually take its shape, as long as I make sure that it's flush from old metal to new metal all the way down. It'll pull itself into shape. So that's pretty much all my holes closed off. All those tiny little pinholes that you see there aren't actually holes. There's metal behind it. They're just tiny little craters, so that will fill in with body filler. Now, did I miss one? Did I miss one here? No, it's not a hole. No, that doesn't go through, that's not a hole. So I've pretty much closed all the holes off. So a bit more grinding now. So finally, after many hours of spot welding, grinding, I've come to the end where there's no more holes that are going through. These are just like tiny little craters, if you like, or divots between the welds. I'm not the world's greatest welder, but there's no holes anymore, and this panel is nice and securely on. So now I've just got to get this an etch primer, and these little bits like this, they'll be filled in with body filler. So that rusty section of boot lid is now completely gone. I've got a bit more work to do on the inside to pretty that up a bit, and got to put some seam sealer on the inside as well. But that's pretty well done as far as any sort of welding or more grinding is concerned. So we're hitting this now. We've got some body filler on there, as you can see, and we're hitting this with some 80 grit. And we'll get this all feathered out. Probably have to go over this one more time with some more body filler, I'd say. You can see a low spot developing in the centre there. So we've got our first patch panel in here on this reinforcement brace. The welds don't have to look all that pretty around here because this is going to be sealed up and you never see it again. There was like a little oval gap in here, just like this big hole here, so we just left a little gap there. I'm not sure why that was there, but anyway, we'll put it back there. So we'll just hit that with a bit of primer. So it's all nice and sealed. Okay, now we can put our main piece on. Alright, so we've just started tacking our main patch over the top here. So we're just going to slowly start from the corners there, and as Joel's doing some spot welds, I'll be pushing down because we want to keep this as flush as possible with the actual body. So we'll probably hit this section here next. So I'll push down with a hammer or something. Keep going. Keep going, more over. Hold it there, hold it there. If that stayed. Hope I didn't have my fingers in the way there. Unfortunately, we've got to do this very slowly because we don't want to overheat the metal. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay. So now, as we're going, we're going to push this down so you can see, because at the moment that's sitting up high, the patch is sitting up high. So as I do that, Joel can hit it with a spot weld. Come down a little bit lower, Joel. Probably that there, yep. Hold it there. Beautiful. Is that a good one?
No, I need more.
Okay. Let it go. Alright, so that's good. We're following the shape of the car. Then we've got that curve that we put in there that's coming up like that. So we'll let that cool off for a bit now so we don't overheat that area. Alright, so this is after a bit more cleaning, so it's getting closer and closer. And as we grind this, what we've done is we grind it flatter to the metal itself. It exposes all these tiny little pinholes, so we're just going around now and closing as many of them as we can. And obviously we're probably not going to get every single one. That's what body filler will do when we put that over the top here. But at least we won't be putting on 20mm body filler like I had before. So that's looking pretty good. Okay. Right, we'll do a bit more cleaning, then we'll seal this up again with some primer so it doesn't rust over. But that's almost, well, it's going to be pretty much a day's work by the time we finish this. So we did this today. We'll put the reinforcement in, the remainder of the reinforcement in there, and this. I don't know if we're going to get to this panel here because we still have to do these little bits. But yeah, it's looking good. Now when we made this patch panel here, coming up along the top of the rear quarter, you can see it's got a curve where it comes over, then down and up. What we did was, I filmed the procedure of getting the shape in this, but unfortunately the phone that I had before this phone decided to die, so I lost all that footage, but we will film it when we do the other side, so you'll see it completely. Now this isn't a how-to video on how to do this stuff, it's just how I do it, that's all. But what we ended up doing is my son and I, we just got a jack handle from a hydraulic jack and one at each end, and we just basically, while the old sheet metal was still under here, we basically rolled the new sheet metal over the top till we got the shape. And that's how we got the curve in before we cut away the old steel. But what I have just discovered, this is from my dent puller kit, for those when you use those plastic pull tabs. This will do the same thing. So you can use like a rolling pin basically. You can roll your shapes in certain spots in the car with this sort of thing. If you're like me and you're not a great panel beater and you're not good at crafting metal, you know, with a hammer and dolly and so on, tools like this come in handy. So, you know, whatever it is that you can use to get the job done. But anyway, that's how we did that, and we got the shape pretty much exact. But like I said, when we do the other side, I'll go through it completely and film it. Film the whole lot. So now we finally get to close this piece off, so I'm just going to start tacking in the centre where it's nice and flush, and then I'll slowly push it into where it's meant to go. So here we go. Just trim this off. Right there. Just got my fingers. Okay, that'll do for that. Pull that off. So I'm almost there and getting this patch completed in here. So the problem I have is when I start spot welding bits and pieces, there are certain areas of the original metal, the roof skin here, where it just keeps burning away because the metal is weakened in that area, even though I cut well above the rust line. I think the rust was down here somewhere, so you know I cut it up here. But still some of the metal is fairly soft in some areas, so you just got to keep spot welding until the weak metal burns away and you get solid weld. That's why it's all over the place like this. It's not that pretty, but it will look nice when it's all done. So here's my next series of patch panels that I've made for this area here, for the dog leg. So the first one that I'll be putting in is this one here. Which goes in like that. There, and it stops just before that bracket. So this one I'll be able to weld easily across here. I won't have to worry about overheating because it's all in the rocker panel. And this is the outer skin that went over the top of it. Actually, this way around. Like this. So first I'll start with this one. So I've almost got these two pieces completely in. Just going to finish off some welding around here. Now this actual piece here, which comes in from the other side of the wheel well, I'm going to have to use seam sealer around the outside of it, as I'll show you. Just around here. So once I get all that completely knocked into shape, after I've welded around it as best I can, I'm going to just go around there with seam sealer, make sure that no water gets in through here, That's going to be a lot more secure than trying to weld it all the way around. Okay, so I'm just starting to put that little piece in the sill panel, and it's actually two pieces. So this was the inside part of the rocker panel, and this little piece becomes the outside skin like that. But before I go too far, I just want to make sure that the door shuts and it lines up. Okay, now the door's only, that's pretty good actually. That's even the right height. Perfect height. We've only got one bolt in each hinge there just to check it, but yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so I can continue on then. And so I'm getting closer and closer to closing this thing off. Though the welding isn't all that pretty, I'm not the world's greatest welder, but all my little pieces are coming together, so I'm just going over all of this with a flap disc afterwards, so I'll make it look nice when it's done. But just one more piece to go on the outside here. Let's see if I can close this gap here. I should be able to close that off with some welding now. Try and do this one-handed. So there we go, the patch is in. Still got to do some finishing touches on it. I've got to clean all this up and get all those welds looking nice and flat, and there's a few holes I've got to fill in, but all the pieces are in. So yeah, that was a lot of work. So yeah, we'll get this looking nice, put that in primer so that it's not going to rust over while I'm doing something else. At the same time, we're working on the quarter panel. That's where that other patch panel went in. So I've just got some body filler over that now so we can get that nice and flat. But at least it's pure steel there now. It's not a great big gaping hole. So here we go. So Joel's just cut out a patch panel for that quarter panel right there. So we'll just see how that fits on there. So he made a template first out of cardboard, and yeah, looks like that's pretty good. And we're not cutting all the way through. We're going to keep some metal at the bottom there, so we've got something to weld this patch panel to. So that looks pretty good, Joel. So next we've got to put some self-tapping screws at the top of it and drill it into the quarter, and then we'll push it down and we'll get that shape. We'll roll it into shape. Right, so we've got the patch panel on. We've got one self-tapper in there, so we're going to put 4 in total. Do you want me to hold it, or would you?
Can you just hold it up
Yeah,
like that?
okay. There's 2. And 1 at each end. We're laughing. We're going to make a battle tank.
It's looking like a Cybertruck now.
Except these panels don't fall off. Alright, so here it is. So I've got a piece of wood that's giving me more height with my rubber mallet, and I've just happened to find a piece of wood with a scallop in it like that, which is perfect so that I can roll the mallet like this. So as you can see, the bottom of the patch panel there, we're just working our way up to here. So there's a high spot there, so we're going to roll that. So let's get that on there. Okay, just go up with the jack. Okay, so just, yeah, hold it there. Keep going up a little bit more. Hold it there. it's just slowly working that metal into the right shape. Okay, let it down a bit. Okay, let's just come along a bit more. So that's the patch panel created. We've now massaged it to the right shape. It's got enough self-tapping screws in there to keep it like that. So that's it. So we'll just leave that there now. That'll stay in that shape, or mostly in that shape, before we take it off again. And once we cut this off, we'll have to make the inner panel as well. So anyway, that's looking pretty good.